Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorda, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib. We got a great show for you today. If you want to call and ask questions, 323-870-3857. Let's get it started. ESPN. Otabek Kholmatov. What is it? Kholmatov? Kholmatov or Kholmatov? Kholmatov. Okay, versus Raymond Ford for the vacant WBA featherweight title. Raymond Ford wins by TKO in the final round to win the vacant WBA featherweight title. The fight was close throughout. Heading into the final rounds, though, this was what was crazy. Ford was down by 3 points on 2 of the 3 scorecards. He was actually ahead on the other scorecard, I believe. Wasn't he? I believe he was ahead.
He was by a point.
Yeah, by like a point. So yeah, I thought it was a very close fight. I thought like I said, I didn't score it, but as I'm watching it, I'm like, man, this is a close fight. And but I did think that Kholmatov was ahead.
I had him ahead.
It looked to me like he was ahead. Yeah. But I tell you what, man, he was just trying to run in that last. You could see he was clearly just trying to stay away in that last round. And then he got clipped, he got thrown to the floor. When he got back up, I tell you, and he took that big right. It looked like the big right hand got him and then shoved him against the ropes.
Yep.
And he gets hit again, right? He gets hit again, goes to the corner. But he's trying to get away. So he like kind of runs out of the way to try to collect himself.
Yeah.
And the referee jumped in and stopped it.
I think
I got to be honest, man. I did not like that stoppage at all.
I didn't mind it, and I'll tell you why. The final punch, he started running away, but then the final, he got Ford got one more punch in there,
yeah.
and it knocked him into the ropes. I don't think he willingly turned his back. I just think the momentum of the punch. And just because his legs were gone.
Yeah, I don't think he willingly turned his back.
Yeah. And then when you watch it back in the replay, the ropes are holding him up. And even
why not give him a standing 8 at that point? Because that's what it's for.
I mean, you're saying that there's no such thing as a standing 8, but like you call it knockdown and give him and give him a count, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Yeah.
If the ropes hold you up, that's technically a knockdown.
Correct, but I'm thinking the ref didn't look at it that way. It didn't interpret it that way, that the ropes are holding him up. But I when you go back and watch the replay, it looked like the ropes were holding him up. You know what I mean?
And you may very well could have been.
Yeah.
But to jump in and stop the fight,
I thought his legs
with 7 seconds.
Yeah, I thought his legs were gone, and I'm just going to be honest. Sometimes one punch is all it takes to.
Yeah, you got to err on the side of caution here. I didn't like the stoppage, but I thought the Julio Cesar Chavez stoppage was good. So it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, if I'm being honest.
I guess you can make an argument either way.
Yeah,
it was that one of those types of situations.
Mm-hmm.
But then afterwards too, when you see him walking away, he's all over the place with his legs.
It was probably if you're a ref, you're in such a bad spot. You really are.
Yeah.
Because, people like me are going to criticize you no matter whether it was just or unjust.
Yeah.
And you have a split second to make that decision. So it's tough. I didn't like the stoppage, but that being said, I'm not clamoring for a rematch because of it.
Yeah.
I didn't think he got robbed, put it that way.
Sure.
Because that was a really competitive fight, really good fight. Both guys really look good.
Yeah, it's funny because Kholmatov got off to a great start. He was very aggressive and he was pushing Ford back. And as the rounds wore on, particularly in the middle part of the fight, Ford had to make that adjustment. He started stepping in hard with his jab, and he tried to close the distance because at long range to mid range, Kholmatov was having some success, and I think that was his sweet spots. Right, he had an advantage in those areas at least early on. But then When Ford, like I said, stepped in hard with the jab and he closed the distance, he was more effective. He was more effective up close, and Kholmatov couldn't deal with him up close because he was more fluid. He was better at shortening up his shots on the inside. Kholmatov need that space, and in a lot of instances, he was like pulling back and throwing that left hand like a tomahawk. And I think Ford started seeing it coming. But yeah, you gotta give both fighters credit. I think the second half of the fight was definitely Ford's fight, but I do think that like in the 11th round and the 9th round, I still think in the second half of the fight, Kholmatov would win around here and there, but I thought Ford did much better in the second half that he did in the first half. I actually had the same score as those two judges. I had it 106-103 at the time of the stoppage too. I had it 7-4, but definitely Ford was coming on. And the momentum was going in his favor. And ironically enough, I actually, I gave Ford round 10 and I gave Kholmatov round 11. So I kind of figured maybe he'll cruise to the distance here,
Sure,
and maybe get a decision.
And that's what he was trying to do. That's what he was trying to do.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because something, I don't know if it was something that Ford did or something that just was bothering Kholmatov, but from the round 5 on, he started moving away a lot. He started trying to fight off the back foot a lot, and I don't know if that was because he was uncomfortable with Ford being too close and he wanted to gain space, or maybe he got hit with something. I don't know, but his body language and demeanor from the 5th round on was different. I noticed it was different. And Ford was known as the boxer, right? This was boxer puncher versus boxer, I thought, going in. But Stephen Edwards, Breadman Edwards, made a great point. He's like, you know what? If one guy can take the other guy's shots better than the other guy can take his, then regardless of what the perception is and knockout percentage and all that, the guy who's actually taking the shots better and hurting the other guy, he becomes the puncher in the fight. And Ford became the puncher in this fight.
Yeah, for sure he did.
Even though going in, you didn't perceive him to be that. So it was quite interesting how this fight played out. And I didn't anticipate it being this way. I thought that it would be, I thought Ford would have a good first half, and Kholmatov would come on late with his pressure and kind of have his way with Ford, and Ford would just be crafty enough to hold on and ride it out, but be outworked in the second half.
Yeah,
it was the opposite, because Ford had a better second half, and Kholmatov had a better start. So this was like totally different than I anticipated. It was quite the opposite of what I thought would happen.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I really wasn't looking forward to the fight. I'll be honest with you. It wasn't a great card. It was a decent card. There was some good showcase fights on there, but it wasn't a card that I was like overly looking forward to. But that main event, I was looking forward to some of the undercards more than I was looking for but the main event paid, man. That paid off big time. I mean, those guys should get bonuses and all that other stuff because they left everything out there.
You know what it is, Eric? These guys, Ford and Kholmatov, again, they're not the big name fighters. They're fighting for a vacant title.
Yeah.
They're still fairly early in their career, and they're going in. They were in the pretty much same spot in their careers. So I understand that, it's not one of them big fights, but upon doing like research, I've obviously seen both. I've seen Ford a lot more than I've seen Kholmatov because on DAZN and stuff. I knew he could box, but I did a little bit more research on Kholmatov, and I was just kind of measuring his style up against Ford's style. And going into this fight, I was saying, even on Thursday on the roundtable, so this is going to be a great fight. The way these two styles, I think, could potentially match up. I said on Thursday, I think it would be a great fight, and it turned out being a great fight. It just didn't go the way I expected it to go. It's like I thought Ford ended up taking the role of Kholmatov, and then Kholmatov started taking the role of Ford. At least that's the perception I had. I had Ford in my mind being the mover in this fight, and Kholmatov being the guy taking it to him. But again, the roles ended up somehow being reversed in this fight, And it was just bizarre to see it. Really was.
Alex Bellotti says, what card does Eric look forward to? Never heard him excited for a fight.
He's a UFC guy, man. He's a UFC plant.
That's right.
That's what he is.
Teddy Atlas. Me and Teddy Atlas, we think the same. You know what I mean?
He works for Dana White.
Uncle Dana. I thought it was a good fight. B, do you think there's an immediate rematch?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because Ford wants to go up to 130. He was struggling at the scales. He said this was a horrible weight cut for him. And he wants to. He even in the locker room, they showed footage on Twitter of Eddie and Ford talking.
Yeah,
before the fight started in the locker room, and he was saying like, after this fight, I want to go to 130. And he was like,
wow.
Eddie was like, what about some unifications? He goes, I want to go to 130. So we'll see what happens.
You just can't do it then. Yeah, I mean, if you can't do it, you can't do it.
He's got a big. He'd have a great fight up at 130 against Joe Cordina. That's a great fight.
And the thing is, man, with the weights they're at, it's not like they carry excess fat. Listen, if he can't make the weight, you cannot make the weight. It's just that simple. I mean, there's nothing really to cut anymore.
And here's the thing. It's good to hear a young fighter like that say, I'm going to go up in weight. Because I know people are going to hate me saying this, but it did Errol Spence no good to spend 16 or 17 years or whatever it was at welterweight, because this guy was killing himself time and time again, coupled with the fact that he didn't have the best lifestyle outside of the ring as well. So it's good to see guys like Bam and Ford, even at the young age, don't get enticed too much. Obviously, the money means a lot, but don't get too enticed with the money, because there's always going to be bigger fights down the road for you. So look at the long game sometimes when it comes to your health, right? Don't do undue damage to your body trying to kill yourself making weight. No need for that.
You had mentioned Errol Spence. Does he come back? Is he done?
He's got to be done, Eric.
I think he's got to be done, right?
Got to be done.
I think he may have one or two other fights, but
maybe
no
a cash out
fights.
Maybe a cash out.
Right. That's what I was thinking too, like a cash out fight. But yeah, that's tough, man. Aaron Daly says Eric is more into the women's fights. Anything involving Katie Taylor or Serena, and Eric is on board. Let me tell you what, I sure am. You guys know me. You guys know I love the women's fights. And we have got a women's fight to talk about next on DAZN. But first, we're going to go through this card. But I can't wait to tell you guys about that fight. That was amazing. And if you didn't see Serrano this weekend, you missed out big time. That's right. Luis Alberto Lopez versus Reiya Abe. For Lopez's IBF featherweight title, Lopez wins by 8th round TKO. Beeb. What are your thoughts on Lopez?
I like Lopez, but he's definitely beatable. He's a short, small guy, very aggressive, but the defense is porous. Doesn't have the greatest defense, but his defense is offense. He's so aggressive, and he comes forward and he looks to land those big bombs sometimes. But every now and then he's like, what he's like? He's like Navarrete, like very unorthodox with the way they throw those wide loop-in shots. And you're saying to yourself when you watch these guys fight,
so beatable.
Yeah, how these guys are swinging the fences. They're wide open. They're there for the taking, right? But it's not that easy, because when you got someone like Lopez, you got someone like Navarrete, who are very strong-willed. They're very durable, and they have a great engine, and they keep coming forward. Now, some of those shots might look unorthodox, and when you're fighting them as an opponent, you're looking, these shots are coming from left field. How do I block these things? I'm not used to seeing this stuff in the gym when I'm training and sparring, right? But then every now and then you'll see them throw a conventional punch out of nowhere. So you're like, how do I gauge this? One of these punches looks like a tomahawk, right? It looks like he's throwing the right hand.
Yeah,
looks like he's throwing the right hand from his back pocket. And then another time he'll just sneak in a real short, crisp uppercut, 45-degree or a hook, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to gauge a guy like Lopez, because he's so unorthodox and he gets so low when he's coming in on you. He doesn't give you much to throw at. The only time you can really hit him is when he opens up wide, But he'll fight out of that crouch sometimes when he changes levels. Then he springs, and you got to time that too. So I thought Joet Gonzalez had a great fight against him. I thought that fight was really close. I had that fight actually a draw.
Yeah.
So I do think he's beatable, but then again, he can beat you too because he has that power.
Did we have Joet? I think we did have Joet. I think I had him losing in that fight.
Yeah, most people had Joet losing.
Yeah, but, because he's that fighter that is almost like a gatekeeper. He's not good enough yet, or maybe ever, to get to the big. You know what I mean?
He's stuck in purgatory.
Yes, that's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah, he's stuck in purgatory. He gets so close.
Yeah, but
so far.
And he's got the talent to do it. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like he's a guy that has the talent, and you think, but it's the matchmaking. You got to put him in the right match. You know what I mean? If you want this guy to go somewhere, you're going to have to put him in the right match. So.
Gotcha. I agree.
So, yeah. This is really something. I didn't know this, and maybe you guys did. Maybe you guys can correct me. I don't know. Nico Ali Walsh versus Charles Stanford. Charles Stanford was a late replacement. Babe, I don't know. I don't know if you know this or not, or if anybody in the chat, does anybody know that Nico Ali Walsh is actually the grandson of Muhammad Ali?
Yeah.
You guys knew that?
I found that out.
I just found that out, right? Because they only mentioned it 50 million times.
Let me ask you.
Did you know it was Ali family night at the Turning Point Casino also?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. How about that?
Did you know Flavor Flav is his godfather?
What's that?
Did you know Flavor Flav from Public Enemy is his godfather?
I saw that. Yeah, I saw him in there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that either. I
didn't know that.
Kind of. If I'm picking out godfathers, I mean, I don't know.
I know you're not a big fan of Kriegel, right? But I know you're not a big fan of Kriegel, but over time, I've been starting to warm up to him. But during this fight, I found him quite irritating. Because he's sitting there with having this conversation with Bernardo Osuna. He went on like from the first round to the ending, right? He was just talking about how, Nico Ali Walsh doesn't have to do this.
And
like, Jesus Christ, bro. We get it.
He is the worst. Not everything has to be like this big cry fest in there, like this big human interest piece. He's off. I hate Kriegel. He's so annoying. Let's see here. Omar Rodriguez says, not trying to copy with Big Texas, but has Eric been losing weight? There you go. All right. See, I'm pumping up and I'm looking good, I've been losing a little bit. I
was kidding around with a guy at the gym that I haven't seen him in a long time, because sometimes I go to I'm a black card member, so I move around. Sometimes I go to Saga. I'm a Planet
You're
Fitness.
A black card member at Planet Fitness. I can why? Because I can go to any gym now. Like what?
If I'm in like Vegas with the honey dips, I can just kind of go to.
When was the last time you were in Vegas with the honey dips? I rest my case.
About 6 or 7 years ago. But here's the thing. So I say to the guy, I say, "You're the best looking guy in this gym," and he gives me this scowl. I don't swing that way. Dude, neither do I. I was just kidding around with you. I wasn't making a proposition.
Rewind here, because I was laughing at something else. I was laughing at you having a Planet Fitness everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Tell me what happened now. You went to a Planet Fitness and what?
I was kidding around with this guy. I said, "Hey, here's the best looking guy in the gym," and the guy looks at me like, "Well, I don't swing that way." Neither do I, buddy. I'm just kidding around with you. Like, you know what I mean? It's like kind of like a friendly jab. I wasn't trying to ask you out on a date or anything.
What if he would have said yes? Would you have asked him out on a date?
Come on, please.
I'm just saying, listen, I never went up to another guy and says, "Man, you're a powerful and attractive man." I've never said that. I'm just saying, maybe I'm just, look, man, there's nothing. There's nothing. Tony Yayo says, "Lord is on the Ozempic like Oprah." You guys know my secret now. What am I going to do? Me and Oprah,
She left Weight Watchers
Did you hear about that? Okay, so she was on Weight Watchers. She was like on the board and everything, and then apparently got let go or had to quit or something like that because she was using those.
Oh, she left. She left. She decided she was going to decide to leave, and the stock plummeted when she left.
I believe it. That's why you can't bring Oprah on. But she didn't lose that weight on Weight Watchers. She lost it on Ozempic. She was like
that shit. You know what's funny? That shit is. I heard that shit's dangerous too, man.
I don't know.
Develop anorexia on that shit.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. All right, so Nico Ali Walsh wins a unanimous decision. Listen, all right, so Ben, I tell you, man, he looked okay.
Yeah,
he won the fight. All right, I mean, he won the fight. But I think right now we're kind of at the ceiling here. I don't know that he can do much better than he's doing.
I think deep down inside, he probably knows that he's not going to be able to.
He's got to know, right? I mean, you can't be that delusional.
But he's just doing it because he enjoys doing it. It's almost like he's living out a dream, so to speak.
Yeah, I think so. And you know what? I can't hate that. I can't hate that. I mean, look at Montero. Montero did the same thing, and maybe continues to do the same thing, where he kind of lives out a dream. He knows he's not getting the title. He knows he's not on the upper echelon or ever going to be in the, you know what I mean? He knows that, but this is his thing, You can't hate that. But I do think that he knows that as well. And I think Top Rank knows that also.
Sure.
I mean, as long as he gets a crack at like a USBA thing or something like that. I mean, something meaningful, whatever, man.
As long as he knows his level, which I believe he does, then he'll be fine.
He's not stupid. I mean, you can't like look at film of yourself and everything like that and, look at the guy you're fighting and say, man, this guy was a monster. And, I mean, I have a feeling, Jake Paul might do that, but I don't think Ali's grandson does. So there you go. All right, let's talk about your boy, man, Floyd Cashflow Diaz versus Edwin Rodriguez. I still trip out every time I see this guy, and he was on the Floyd Mayweather, the special with the 24/7 thing or whatever. That always kills me, man. I'm like, no way. I cannot believe, we're old. Because, I remember when that guy was a little kid. Now he's fighting
as a kid,
he's got 11 fights. He's
correct,
like 11-0 now.
He is.
All right, so let me tell you the good about him. He won the fight. Obviously won the fight, unanimous decision. Looked good. The guy was tough. Now, the guy he fought was looked like a tough guy. He was in there. He was in there to fight. But, Cashflow did what he's supposed to do. Dominated I think he dominated the fight. I thought he won the fight.
Sure.
My problem is those 3 knockouts that he has in 11 fights.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
Sure.
My problem is that he doesn't have a very fan-friendly type of style. To me, he seems more worried about the punches coming at him than the punches coming from him.
Very defensive minded,
Yeah, and that's the thing. So he's more defensive. And that, it's okay, but you're not winning fights. And he's also not sitting down on his punches either. Did you notice this? He doesn't sit down. He's the speed guy. So he's going to hit and move or hit while he's moving or any combination of those. But he's not going to step to you. He's not going to plant his feet, and he's not going to throw that shot. That's not him.
A lot of these young kids coming up, I noticed that they're not bending their knees and sitting down on the shots. It's just they're not focusing on really turning the shots over. They're just trying to get as many off as possible. It's almost like it's a volume game, a game of tag with these guys.
It's still that amateur style.
Yeah, a lot of guys haven't transitioned, Seems.
I tell you what, it was funny. I was watching Floyd Mayweather training, and this was after, afterwards and stuff, after his career and after his fights and everything. And he was saying that, he says a lot of people, when they hit the mitts, they just think it's this, and they're just counting punches. He said they're not. They're actually throwing combinations. And he said that every combination, I was watching one video, and he says, watch the lead into my Arturo Gatti fight. He said, every punch that we did on the mitts, we did in the fight. Every combination we did in the fight.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people look at this and kind of maybe copy his training regimen, but not really understand what they're copying.
Sure.
you know, and because I see a lot of the mitts and everything, like I see a lot of those mitts, not the old time mitts where 1-2 boom and we're doing combinations, quick combinations, but it's all the
a lot of this stuff you're not going to be able to do in a fight that you're doing on the mitts.
Yeah, you know, because you're not going to be able to memorize those type of combinations in a fight. Well, I mean, you could memorize them in a fight, but they're not going to do you any good because the guy moves and the guy throws back. It's not choreographed.
Correct.
And Floyd was saying, you know, like I said, he was saying with the jabs, he said people don't turn over their punches, much what you said. He said people aren't turning over their punches. They're not boxing the proper way, you know, and this is why the Europeans, Kazakhstan, everybody, you know, they've got a huge boxing team over there now. A lot of fighters come out of that area of the world, man. And those guys are pretty well schooled. And if you watch them, they're really well schooled.
Sure.
Where their foot placement, they might not have the athletic ability that some of our guys have.
Yeah.
Okay. But they do the basics, and they know how to turn the punch over. They know how to plant their feet. It's still to them. They plant their feet and they throw. And Virtuoso says Gaddy was literally flat-footed. I get that. Listen, we all knew going into that fight what the outcome was going to be. But it's just the point that, you know, like I said, he knows how to fight. You know, it wasn't just pity pat with him. He knows how to fight. And that's what I look at, and that's what I see missing. And then I look at like Cash Flow Diaz, and that's what I see missing. You know, what did you think about it? I mean,
pretty fair assessment. I think I agree with most of what you said. I think that there's nothing dynamic about him. Definitely, he's quick, he's athletic, but once again, when you're throwing these combinations, there's got to be a purpose to them, right?
Yeah.
And if you're just throwing for the sake of throwing, just to look good, be flashy, play to the crowd, whatever you want to do, because that was his style when he was a kid, right? To be flashy, to do these drills and get the oohs and ahs from people watching him. But again, does that translate into the fight? So we'll see what happens moving forward. I mean,
what are you going to do with a guy who cuts off the ring on you?
Yeah.
Who those punches aren't going to move him.
Yeah.
And now he can take your shot.
Yeah.
And now he's coming forward. And then what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Do you have something in your back pocket to keep him off of you?
And like you said, the problem is you're watching him in there, and he's not turning the shots over, and he's not sitting down on his shots. And as you said, at some point you're gonna have to get the guy's respect that you're in there with. And if you can't, and the level of opposition becomes better and better, and you're not getting respect from these guys, the better they are that you're fighting, you're gonna have some long nights, and some of those long nights could turn into short nights if you're not lucky. So
yeah, that's the thing, man. That it really is. And Raphael 32 says a lot of these kids don't want to get hit, and they try to imitate the Floyd Mayweather style. Yeah. They do and they don't. You know, I tell you what, the shoulder roll is one of the toughest things to learn. It really is. And, you know, because your face is literally not exposed, but kind of it is. You know, you're open for those shots. So you have to know your distance. You have to know when it's coming. You have to know when to roll. You have to know there's a ton of things that you have to know. And you know how long it takes to perfect that? And it's one thing to just show you what it is, but then it's another thing to go in the gym, practice this every single day.
And that's not all Floyd Mayweather does either. You know, Floyd Mayweather, he has an inside game.
He fights multiple different ways.
Uses a high guard at times.
High guard, yes, that's him. Yeah, no.
And he turns his shots over and steps in with that right hand. And you can see, guys, he was such a clean, accurate puncher, and he would snap these guys' heads back, and people would criticize him. Oh, all he does is try to get decisions. He's not trying to hurt the guy, whatever. But these guys wouldn't just walk in on him. He hit hard enough to get their respect, get their attention. Right.
Yeah. So you got to have it, you know. Yeah. That's what they said about Pernell Whitaker. They said his punches can't break eggs, but they break spirits.
Yeah.
So, you're not going to, again, and he can hit because if he couldn't, people be walking right through him, and he can hit, So, yeah. what is it? Adam Konotsky. Where did he fight? Did he fight on the same card last night?
He got knocked out in the first round.
Yeah, his 5th straight loss. I don't even know who it was to.
I can't remember.
But it was his 5th straight loss. I heard about this. I read about it. I didn't see the fight or anything like that, but
I saw
5 straight. What happened to that guy, man? He was a contender. He was going places.
Yeah, he just fell off, bro. I don't know. I can't.
Yeah. Hanging out with your boy Big Baby Miller. That's what happens.
That's your man.
That's your man right there, man.
What's going on with these guys from Ohio? Adrian Broner. Jared.
I think it was a big misunderstanding. And I'll explain it to you. It was a big misunderstanding because I know that nobody from Ohio will act like that. I think, listen, man, I'll be honest. I think some of the press clippings were a little off.
Think it was a frame job?
Report.
I think it was a frame job.
It was absolutely a frame job. I can't imagine Jared Anderson doing that. Yeah, he had the gun thing in November. That was a big misunderstanding too.
They planted the gun on him, right?
Oh, well, what do you think? He had the gun? Come on, man. All right, let's talk about that dumpster fire, man. Let's talk about that dumpster fire on DAZN. And I'm more than Manny Castillo. Okay, yo. Let's talk about this dumpster fire, Beeb.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this because everybody who says I don't like women's boxing, I'm going to break this fight down for you. Main event, baby. Main event. Amanda Serrano versus Nina the Brave. Mikey. Beeb, this fight started off. No, it didn't. It got canceled. It got canceled. Why? Why did it get canceled? Because this moron, Serrano. That's right. I went there. I did.
Whoa!
I went there. that's right. You want to Me Too me?
It was faulty hair products, not her fault.
Faulty hair products. Faulty. I don't know if you know this, but hair products typically don't go in your eyes. That's just my thing. That's what I've learned on my 50 years here. All right. The fight was canceled because apparently some hair product leaked into Amanda Serrano's eye, and the doctor decided to cancel the fight. Why? Listen. Why? When did they make this decision, B? They made this decision like before they went on, didn't they?
Yeah. Let me give you my take on it.
Why so late?
I'll tell you what my take on it. This happened, I think, 36 hours before the fight. I talked to D-Style about this, and
36 hours before the fight.
Yeah.
You couldn't get the hair product out? You couldn't see after that? Shut up. 36 hours before the fight.
I think she had like some type of corneal abrasion or corneal ulcer or something like that. Yeah. And they knew she wasn't going to fight. But I think why they did what they did was they wanted the card to go on. They wanted those fighters to fight. They wanted the people in the arena to be able to have an event. They already knew everyone was going to get paid. They already knew they were going to pay Amanda Serrano's opponent. So at the end of the day, and they already knew they were going to refund everybody's money, right? So I got to give them credit for that. But I think they let it play out this way and waited to the last minute. So at least these fighters could fight. They could get these fights on their records, get paid. And they knew they were already going to pay Mikey. They already knew that, and they already knew they were going to refund everybody. So this was no harm, no foul. At least let them enjoy.
They had a weigh-in for this fight, didn't they? Yeah. Were these two broads weighed in, huh?
Whoa!
And they knew.
Whoa!
And they knew.
They knew.
That fight wasn't happening.
They knew. But again, everyone, think about this. You went to see a fight for free in Puerto Rico in the arena, because everyone's gonna get refunded. All the
should have given the tickets away for free anyway for that fight, by the way.
Please.
I'm just saying.
You live in a capitalist world, man.
Serrano got stopped by Pantene, says Andrew. So this happened 36 hours beforehand. What kind of hair product was it? What did she need so bad to look so good for this fight?
Yeah, I don't know.
Moron. Complete and utter moron.
Things happen.
I want you to acknowledge it.
That she's a moron?
Yes.
Well,
acknowledge it.
I'll say this. I believe she's got one foot out the door anyways. She's making commercials over in Puerto Rico. She's got all these endorsements over in Puerto Rico. She's not fighting Katie Taylor. She's not fighting Alicia Bumgardner. She's not fighting
anybody.
She's not fighting Tasha Jonas. She's not fighting people like Michaela Mayer. She's fighting a woman, with all due respect, in Mikey, and she's a minus 3,000 going in. So she's fighting girls where she's a 30-1 favorite, 22-1 favorite. She's fighting girls and in fights that have predictable outcomes. And I say this without trying to be mean. If she retires, I won't miss her, because these fights do nothing for me. At least Katie Taylor's fighting people like Chantel Cameron. At least Michaela Mayer's fighting people like Tasha Jonas. At least, these other women, Sandy Ryan, they're fighting competitive fights, right? Jessica McCaskill, not a huge fan, but she fights the tough fights, right? She moved up and moved on her way to fight Chantel Cameron. She defended her 147-pound title, and arguably I thought she lost that last fight. I don't want to see someone fight against an opponent that I know is going to probably lose every round.
Are we watching the Ngannou fight next week?
Well, we'll see about that. But here's the thing, man. There is no intrigue at all going into these fights with Amanda Serrano.
Andrew has got some good ideas.
I mean, so I'm just saying. And so, not to sound like an asshole and be mean, I wasn't disappointed that I didn't get to see her fight.
Wow.
Nina Mikey. I wasn't.
I wasn't either.
I mean, what was it going to be? It was going to be a 12-round shutout like the other one was? I mean, come on. What are we doing here?
Right. What is this? I mean, really, like, what is this? I mean, you're promoting her for what? She's not fighting anybody.
She's not fighting
nobody of real substance.
No. And
you can on her big show, Jake Paul on the undercard, on her big show, she gets shampoo in her eye and can't fight. Did she hang a nail too and then couldn't go in? And you wonder, are you really wondering why I am the way I am about women's boxing?
But this isn't the standard, Eric. This is like an outlier. This doesn't happen very often.
Is it?
How many times did you see a woman pull out of a fight because of hair products?
I will tell you this. What I got respect for. Cruz Dezern, wasn't it Cruz Dezern who was in the corner and they just ripped her wig off or whatever she had on there?
Yeah.
Because she was like, she didn't want to take it off and they were like, just take it off. And then she went back out there and fought. I got a lot of respect for that, man. I got a lot of respect for that because, hey, she could have just packed it in. Could have said, I got some of this in my eye. I just packed it right in. She didn't. She went out there and fought. I think she won too.
It was kind of
so
it was kind of weird that she came out there like right at the end, fully clothed with those glasses on, and she's like, "Yeah, I can't fight." It did kind of like it was kind of staged. I mean, I said, I think they knew all along she wasn't going to fight, but then they tried to. There was a lot of theatrics. They wanted the whole card to go on, and they wanted to kind of let it be known that, we wanted to try to make this fight happen, but the doctors wouldn't let us. I mean, again, this wasn't something that happened in the 13th hour. This happened 36 hours.
36
before the fight.
You didn't. Okay, so your cornea wasn't. You weren't healed 36 hours later after getting whatever it was in your eye.
Yeah. Again, those things are those things are tricky.
Stop it.
Are you questioning the injury?
Yeah, I'm questioning the injury.
I'm usually the conspiracy theorist, not you. Where are we going here?
I'm just saying, look, I mean, what can't, first
of all, you Columbo now? You Columbo?
What hair product does she have in her eye?
What is this, CSI?
That's right. That's right. That's what it was.
Yeah, but she's a virgin, she said. So how could she get spunk in her eye?
Stop it. What's the matter with you?
Her trainer and her brother-in-law said she's a virgin and she doesn't own a cell phone. And then when they asked her, well, how you tweet?
Doesn't she have a husband?
No. And then she doesn't even have a boyfriend. She doesn't date. She's so dedicated to the sport of boxing.
Oh, shut up. Is that for real? You're for real? Like that's what she said?
These are all the stuff that this is another reason why I'm not crazy about it. And then she's like, I don't know.
It was her husband or whatever.
No, that's her sister's husband, her trainer.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
I don't buy that. I don't buy it.
Jordan Maldonado, whatever. But here's the thing. She's like,
our chat is so brutal, man.
She goes like this.
Our chat is so brutal.
Her trainer and herself both say, oh, she's a virgin. She doesn't go on dates. She doesn't own a cell phone, but she's tweeting, right? She's always on Twitter tweeting stuff out. So I said, so someone asked, well, if you don't own a cell phone, how you're on Twitter all day? Oh, I use my iPad. The fuck is the difference? You got a phone or an iPad? Like you're still fucking, you're on social media. Oh, well, I don't want to talk to people. I want to stay focused. Okay, but you're on social media talking to people all fucking day. What's the difference?
It's no difference. No difference, right?
It's like, come on.
She's in Puerto Rico island. There's beaches. Stop it. She's so dedicated to the sport of boxing. That's why she pulled out 36 hours before the fight.
Please, Eric.
I got shampoo in my eye. I can't do it.
Show some compassion.
I can't fight now.
I mean, she was in tears, man.
Just stop it.
She was in tears the night of the fight, man.
From the product or what? Why was she in tears? I don't understand. Why was she in tears on the night of the fight?
She was upset.
For what? She knew she wasn't fighting. She's been knowing it for like 3 days now.
She felt like she let the fans down. It hit home once she stepped in the ring and saw the reaction.
Let me tell you what, she did. All right, there it is. There's no, you didn't question.
But it really hit home when she went in that ring and saw like all the disappointment.
What's she going to ring for?
All the disappointing.
That's my thing. What is she going to ring for?
All the disappointment from the fans. Like she saw the looks on their faces, how sad they were, and it brought a tear to her eye.
For real, it's only 2-minute rounds.
No,
it's only 2-minute rounds.
Her fights are 3-minute rounds. That's her thing.
Ooh.
You're brutal, man. Show some compassion.
She had to get that. What's that shampoo we give the baby? Johnson, the Johnson & Johnson or whatever, the shampoo, the tearless shampoo or whatever.
To be honest, I use baby shampoo myself. I like it. Be honest, I like it. I started using it. Johnson & Johnson's. I never stopped.
Do you get Pampers too, or what?
Please.
All right, let's talk about the DAZN undercard, the dumpster fire undercard. Jake Paul versus Ryan Bourland. Jake Paul wins via first round TKO. Bourland was not a serious threat to Jake Paul in this fight, as we saw. What was he, 35 or something crazy?
Yeah, this guy hasn't fought.
The guy hadn't fought in like 2 years. And this is what you got for us, huh? Come on, man. Like, and then after the fight, he called out Canelo. After the fight, Ryan Garcia called out Jake Paul. Who cares about that? You've got enough to worry about with Devin Haney in front of you.
Enough to worry about with Devin Haney, yes. That's right.
Yeah. Luckily for you, you wanted to worry about it very long because I think he's going to get you out of there. But
yeah, I think he's going to get him out.
Yeah. But I tell you, Ryan Bourland is not. I mean, Jake Paul always talks about how he's serious. He wants to make a run at things and everything like that. Let's be honest, man. Can he make a run?
It's hard. It's hard for me to imagine that he could.
It's tough. It's tough because for me anyway, you'd have to pick up your competition a little better than what you're doing now. It's got to pick up because you haven't fought anybody except for Tommy Fury. And you saw how that went. I mean, I thought he won the fight, but whatever.
Yeah, I could have. I mean, I thought Tommy won, but it was close enough where it could have gone either way. I understand. I mean, he's 27 years old. How many years has he been doing this?
I don't know.
When did he do his first fight?
I don't know.
So he's been doing this. He's been doing this for 4 years now. 4 years in.
4 years in, and he's only got a handful of fights, but against no real competition either.
Yeah.
You got him against basketball players, you got him against whatever.
Yeah.
MMA fighters and stuff, but nothing major. I mean, no.
Nate Robinson, Ben Askren, those.
Yeah,
those aren't real fights.
No.
Those aren't real fights.
I mean, if he's serious about it and he wants to make a run, I'd like to see him fight somebody, because you got enough. I mean, you should be fighting. And you could say, well, the guy had 17 fights. Yeah, but the guy was old. He was older. He hadn't fought in 2 years. That's going to count for something. You know what I mean? That's going to count for something.
And a lot of these guys that he's fighting, like MT said,
that's a very good point too, without amateur experience. And that's pretty big. I mean, the amateur experience is pretty big.
Sure.
Put him against the top 30 guy. Because Grievous says Jake versus who? Ryan Bourland is who we fought last night. But put him against the top 30 guy. You know what I mean? If you're going to build him, build him. Who
wins, Jake Paul or Mike Montero?
Jake Paul, because he's been more active. Yeah. Jake Paul, because he's been more active.
You think Mike would take that fight if they offered it to him?
Yeah, I would take that fight if they offered it to me. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
See if I
can for sure.
I'm going to see if I can put that together.
Yeah. I'd do it for 50 grand. What are you talking about? Kidding me? I'd take a knockout, All right, let's see here what's on the agenda here. Fights coming up because that was this weekend's action. All right, so March 8th is on a Friday. All right, the only one fight this weekend, March 8th, and that's Friday. Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou, 12 rounds heavyweights. On the undercard, Zhilei Zhang versus Joseph Parker, 12 rounds for Zhang's WBO interim heavyweight title. That's the fight. That's the fight of the weekend to me. Ray Vargas versus Nick Ball should be a showcase for Vargas. Let's see here. And nobody really of any other. Roman Fury, is he related to Tyson or the Furies at all?
He is.
Okay. He's going to jerk the curtain there for 4 rounds cruiserweights. And there you go. Now, Robert may know this. I don't know this yet. But it's on Friday. I don't know if it's Friday night or if it's Friday in Riyadh and it's Saturday here.
No. It's Friday. It's Friday during the day here.
Friday during the day. What time?
Card's probably going to – I think they're saying the card's going to start at 2 or 3 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. We got to watch that then.
They're going to watch that.
That's going to be great, man. You kidding me? Omar Rodriguez, or I Am Your Leader, Nick Ball showcase? No? You think Nick Ball's going to beat him? What do you think, Beeb?
I don't think Nick Ball will win the fight, but I think it'll be
more competitive.
More competitive than a showcase.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Let's talk about this for a minute here, Beeb. So, Zhilei Zhang and Joseph Parker. We'll start there. All right,
love that fight. Love it.
I love the fight. I think it's going to be the fight of the weekend. I think it's and I'll tell you what, Zhilei Zhang is coming off 2 big wins off of Joe Joyce.
Yep.
2 great performances against Joe Joyce. Joseph Parker coming off another big win over Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
I like Joseph Parker in this fight.
I do too.
I really do. I think he's faster. I think he's just more fluid. I think he's got better footwork. Zhang's big. And if you get Zhang out of his comfort zone, I think he'll be fine. I think, and Parker has a tendency to do that to people.
Parker is a mover. Joyce is not. Parker can fight on the inside. Joyce is more of a mid-range guy. Parker can also fight on the outside. So I think Parker's more fluid, like you said, with his combinations. And as long as he doesn't stay in that mid-range area too long and get sucked into one of those left hands, I think he should be fine. I think he can outmaneuver Zhang. I think Zhang, I still question the gas tank, right? He's not a volume guy.
No.
He's kind of a counter puncher.
Reminds me a lot of George Foreman.
He does, but he's more of a counter puncher.
Yeah.
He likes to set traps, likes to suck guys in. He likes to bait you. He'll tap you with the jab, trying to get a reaction out of you, trying to lure you forward almost like he's railing you in, and then he just kind of suckers you into that left hand. And the thing with Joe Joyce, the thing with Joe Parker is, I think that the foot speed is going to be a problem. I think he's going to have a hard time timing Parker coming in because he's so quick. And I think Parker is going to move a lot more in this fight than normal. And I think up close, Parker's going to, be able to outwork him on the inside. And if things get tough, he needs to take a break. He can wrap him up and lean on him a little bit. Joseph Parker is pretty physically strong. He held his own against Anthony Joshua in the clinch, right? So I think this is a very intriguing fight. A lot of people are going to pick Zhang here. Zhang is the favorite. Zhang has the better punching power. But once again, this is a guy who fights at a slower pace. This is a guy who's a counterpuncher. This is a guy who's a mid-range guy. And this is a guy that tends to slow down later in the fight. And we didn't get to the second half of the fight against Joe Joyce because he took him out. So we more than likely are going to get to the second half of the fight against Joseph Parker, and that's where this thing becomes interesting. That's where Joe Parker starts to pour it on, and I think Zhang starts to slow down. I'm going to take Joseph Parker here, 12-round unanimous decision, and as I said, I think he's going to outwork Zhilei Zhang here.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he will, and I'm going to take the exact same thing. I don't think he knocks him out or anything like that. If he does, I think it's more of a fatigue thing.
Yeah,
but I see him winning a unanimous decision here again.
Yeah, and this will be a huge win for Parker. In my opinion, this puts him right back into the sweepstakes for a big fight against anyone. Anyone.
Right back. Put him against Usyk. Put him against somebody like that. Yeah. I'll tell you, do you ever do that in your watch just talks? Like they think, like it just answers you and you're not talking to it?
Yeah, I hate that.
I hate it too.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I can't stand it. How fun would a fight be between Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang? It's a fun fight.
I'm going to tell you this, Eric.
How dare
you? I don't think.
Wow.
I don't think there's going to be too many fun fights left for Deontay Wilder moving forward. I just didn't like what I saw against Parker. I don't know, and the whole psychedelic thing and just the way he's been acting. I think this guy's got one foot out the door too.
I think so. I think that's fair. I think he does. Let's talk about the main event, Beeb. Let's talk about the fight everybody wants to see. Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou. Now, look, man, Ngannou put up a great fight. We thought he beat Fury. We thought he did. Now, he didn't win the fight, but I thought he won. You thought he won, and you're Fury's biggest supporter. I love Tyson Fury as well. After seeing him in that fight, I think Tyson Fury is washed. I really do. So what's interesting about this fight is we're going to find out, is Tyson Fury really washed or is Ngannou really that good? He's fighting AJ. And AJ, yeah, there's been some slippage. I get it. He's not the same AJ as he was when he won the title or midway through his title run or anything like that. I get it. But AJ should have enough in the tank to beat an amateur. He should have enough to take Ngannou into deep water and drown him if he needs to. I think it's just, there's no reason, there's no logical argument that you can give to me that can make me see it any other way.
I think most would agree with you, but it's funny when I told you earlier when I was looking at these polls online, it's like 55-45, 60-40. The fact that the poll is not overwhelmingly in Joshua's favor is quite telling, because I guess obviously the fight with Fury, and there's a lot of UFC fans that are behind Ngannou. And Ngannou's a very likable guy. He's very confident. Yeah. He's very strong-willed. You think he's going to get knocked out? I understand your logic. It's very well could happen. But for me, this guy's got such a thick neck. He's got such a big head. With all due respect, I'm not trying to say make fun of him or anything like that. I don't want him to fucking come after me. But
big dude.
Yeah, I think he's just a very durable guy. He's never even been stopped in the UFC, so submitted or knocked out. And there's a lot of ways you can get finished in an octagon as opposed to a ring. And for him to only have lost by decision over there, and some of the shots he was taking by Tyson Fury, obviously I think Anthony Joshua is a harder puncher than Fury, but once again I think Joshua will have more of an approach this fight more so like he approached the Ruiz fight, because there's too much on the line here. Yes. There's bigger fights down the road. Why am I going to get in a firefight with this guy? Joshua's not a great inside fighter, if at all. He's a good outboxer, a good mid-range boxer. So for me, I think he's got to keep this fight at a distance. He's got to try to not allow Ngannou to get close, not allow Ngannou to kind of wrap him up and grapple with him and maul him on the inside. He's got to just work that jab over time in this fight and fight a very similar fight, as I said, that he did in the Ruiz fight. Now, some fans may not like that, but maybe he'll step it up in spots. But it makes no sense to risk giving this guy who has a puncher's chance. Why even give him that puncher's chance by standing close to him, up close, like in that pocket area, mid-range, deep inside? Why even give him those opportunities when you can box him from the outside? And you saw later in the fight when Fury created space and started using his jab and started fighting him from a distance, he started doing better and winning rounds later in the fight. And you could argue that's how he won the fight. If you did score for him, that 10th round could have gone either way. But when Fury started using his jab, doubling it up and creating space and not trying to maul and overpower Ngannou on the inside, you're not going to be able to do that.
He's an average wrestler in the UFC, but he's a very good wrestler for you and I. You know what I mean?
He's a physically strong guy, regardless.
Very much, yeah.
And you saw, like I said, so the game plan should be: I'm going to try to pot shot from the outside, create space, and really use this jab and throw it over time. The jab's got to be it's cliche to say the jab's the most important punch in boxing, but in this fight, it's more than just the most important punch. It's the punch for Joshua, in my opinion, that needs to really be used in excess for him to stand out in this fight.
And the other thing, you had talked about, him having a big neck, him having a big head, and him being able to take shots and absorb punishment. The thing is, I don't think it's going to be a lot of punishment that's going to get him in the end. And I think MT had referred to this and I just had it on the screen, that the problem is going to be his stamina is going to happen. The stamina is going to go down. And I think what's going to happen is AJ is going to put a pace on him and start that stamina early. He's got a big guy. This guy, how much does he weigh? Like 260. He's got to weigh for 265.
He's 270. He was 273, I think, for Fury or something like that.
All right, so let's just put him at 265. Okay, which is UFC limit, heavyweight limit. 265, right? He's 265 pounds of like muscle. There's not a fat.
He looks bigger than Joshua too.
Huge. He's huge.
Yeah.
All that stuff takes oxygen. Those muscles don't help you, man. All that muscle does not help you. Helps you on the beach. It doesn't help you in that ring.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. YouTube member. Thank you so much, Raphael. I appreciate that. Very good. Very good. Adam Hurley says, Ngannou's got one boxing match. If he gets in trouble, he won't know what to do. Yeah. And that's another issue too. What is he going to do when, he's not, to me, he's, again, and Joshua's a veteran, he knows what to do. And what is he going to do when you don't got a guy underestimating you? And I think Joshua is going to take this very seriously.
I do. I believe so.
Because, again, if he loses this fight or he doesn't look impressive in this fight, man, he goes to the back of the line.
He wants to be undisputed again. So he needs to win this fight.
Yeah.
Losing this fight is not an option.
Yeah, I agree, man. 6'5", 275 with no fat is insane. Grant, I agree with you. But again, that's going to extract a price from him because all that muscle, and this as well as I do, does not help you in anaerobic or aerobic activity. It just doesn't. Yeah. It'll help you in the weight room. It'll help you, but it ain't going to help you on when you're running a marathon, put it that way.
Yeah.
Let's bring on Robert here. Ringside Robert. 530, you're live.
Guys.
Hey, what's going on, Robert?
Hello, guys. First of all, let me remind everybody, the fight on Friday is a pay-per-view. So it is a DAZN pay-per-view. So keep that in mind. And also, in both of these fights, in the Joshua fight and in the Parker fight, you're going to have trainers playing very key roles here. In the Joshua fight, you're going to have Ben Davidson in Joshua's corner. I think Joshua has finally found his trainer that's going to be able to help him out. And we know, and Andy Lee we've seen how well he works with Joseph Parker. I think they're both going to play major roles in both of these fights.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good. Yeah, I think
so
you're right.
Now I know Ngannou was supposed to have experienced people in his corner, but it's okay to have experienced people in the corner, but you don't have much experience in the boxing ring. You have experience in the ring, but in other aspects of combat sports, boxing is completely different. He can have all the experience in the world, but when he's dealing with an actual boxer who, from all reports, is taking him seriously, it's going to be a different ball game this time around.
Yeah, I think so too. Not to mention, like I said, Ngannou's got his reputation on a loss.
Yep.
Like it or not, he's got it on a loss.
Do we know how much they're charging for the pay-per-view on Friday, Eric?
I have no idea. No idea.
I heard $40.
That's not bad.
Well, hey, that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay. Yeah, because I'm planning on buying this one. So.
I agree with Grievous. The fight should be free.
Yeah, I totally agree. It should be free.
So,
is it going to be on ESPN pay-per-view at all?
The Zone.
It'll be
right, but you know, right? I understand that, but you know how like DirecTV sometimes picks it up, and sometimes ESPN will pick it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'll have to find that out.
Yeah.
So, Robbie, since this is on a Friday, you and Mrs. Herrick have to cancel at Applebee's that you go out every Friday night.
No. This will be Friday morning for me if it starts at 2:00. So
yeah, but the main event the main event will be later though.
Is that what time it starts? About 2:00?
Yeah. Well, I'm just guessing because the Zone normally starts the UK fights at 2 in the afternoon. So I don't know what the time difference is between the US and Saudi Arabia.
I don't know.
Let me see on the app what.
So.
I can't believe they charge you $225 a year for this freaking thing. It's insane.
It's insane, right?
It's fucking expensive.
And this is the fight they put on.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, so when does this fight start? Let me see.
Let's see.
Yeah, there's no.
I don't blame.
This is starting at Friday at 11 a.m. It says here.
11 a.m.
That's my time.
That's 8 o'clock in the morning for me. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well,
you'll be watching this while you're eating your Lucky Charms, Robert.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
All right. Well, there you go. There you go.
Wow. Talk about an early pay-per-view. All right.
What'd you think of Amanda Serrano's hair gel yesterday, Robert?
That was despicable.
Whoa, another one. Another one.
No,
take it easy.
I'm not happy. I mean, here's a woman that makes a big deal about, and I agree with her, by the way, that all women should fight 3-minute rounds. But yet, you get it in your contract, and yet you play around with shampoo or hairspray, whatever the hell you play around with.
You got to wash your hair, Robert.
It's an accident. What do you want her to do, man?
It wasn't shampoo. Let's just put it that way, because she could have fought with shampoo. What chemical does she have to have 3 days before the fight? What does she have to come out looking fly for 3 days before the fight and say, "Hey, look at me, look at me"?
I'm dying to know what this chemical is.
Eric, 36 hours.
Stupid.
36 hours.
Stupid.
I'm dying to know what this chemical was.
But the whole thing was very disappointing. And as far as Jake Paul is concerned, look, he can knock these guys out all day. Let's see him against Zurdo Ramirez. Let's see him against Jaya Bataya. Let's see him against
Ramirez. Come on,
Jack.
Robert.
Where are you going?
This guy's got like 6 pro fights or like 2 pro fights or something like that. Now, listen, I'm okay with him typing a top 30 guy. Listen, I'm okay. 9-1 against who? Nate, what's his name? That dude that he knocked out, that basketball player?
Nate,
Who cares?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right. So
look,
man, he's 9-1, whatever. But let's start fighting him. Let's start fighting him against some active guys. Not a dude who's been on the couch for the last 2 years and just retired. Now he's coming back out of retirement for him. I mean, I don't want to see him fight Zurdo Ramirez. I mean, he'll get killed. But at least he's learning. Okay, so put him in against another guy who's top 40 or something like that.
Jesus, Robert.
Well, okay. Can you name a guy in the cruiserweight division that would be good for him to fight that everybody would know?
No, because he's coming up. He's coming up. Jake Paul is the name. So whoever he fights, if he fights a guy, who's got some, some credential, something of a credential, like he's known around circles and stuff like that. Just, we want to get him, if he wants to fight, get him fight with some live bodies. Fighting guys like Bourland isn't going to do anything for him.
No.
No,
it's not.
So there you go. All right, Robert, we're going to put you on hold here, and then we're going to go to Atlanta, 404. 404, you're live.
Hey, what's up? This is Coach Eddie from Atlanta. How you guys doing?
Coach Eddie, what's going on?
What's up, Coach? How you been, Coach?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. Things good. Want to chime in on the Francis Anthony Joshua fight. I believe, me personally, I believe that Anthony Joshua is going to knock out Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
I'm going to say round, probably before 6 rounds. He's 5-6 rounds.
Wow. Yeah. I tell you what, I can't disagree. I could see it happening. Yeah. That's for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the reason why I say that, and it could be a possibility where we looking at some more facial fractures also. Probably getting his freaking cheekbone broke or something's gonna break in Francis' face. That's Anthony Joshua. And the reason Tyson Fury, and I'm gonna bring Tyson Fury into this. Tyson Fury is such a magician. It's such has actually fooled the public into thinking that he is this great heavyweight. And to be honest, if Anthony Joshua, my opinion of that fight never changed. Anthony Joshua is gonna knock out Tyson Fury. I pretty guarantee that. Because Tyson Fury is perfectly, he's made for Anthony Joshua. That style, they mesh well together. And Anthony Joshua knocks out Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, he's big. Tyson Fury is clumsy. Everybody like to talk about how graceful he is. He's awkward. He throws a lot of wild, looping shots. And I think Tyson Fury was able to get the whole public, the whole world on his side because he beat Deontay Wilder. That's what really elevated him to this mythical status where no one can beat Tyson Fury. Not the heavyweight from the 90s. If you drop Tyson Fury back in the heyday of the heavyweight, he wouldn't be a champion. A guy like Ray Mercer would probably beat him. He wouldn't be able to beat those guys. Lennox Lewis would freaking destroy Tyson Fury. It would have been a freaking demolition job if they fought each other. And AJ is so easy to get down on him because he's just big physical specimen. People hate people, who got everything going on for them. They really pray for your downfall. They like to see you lose because here it is, this guy, that looks like a freaking Greek god. It's been knocking out everybody. He's got plenty of money. He's got charisma, and people hate that. So they was glad when he lost. You know what I mean? Unless you was an AJ fan. So he's always going to get more stick than anybody else. I don't know. It's just like Francis. I mean, I take the money, but I think Francis is going to get knocked out at the end of the day.
I think so too. I agree. I think so too. I wouldn't be so if it goes the distance. It'll be a one-sided. It will be a one-sided whitewash, and I'll be surprised if it goes the distance because, like I said, man.
Do you think Ngannou wins a round?
Shouldn't.
Wow.
I don't believe so. I really don't. I really don't. And like Tyson Fury that we've seen against Francis Ngannou. I mean, you can tell Tyson Fury didn't treat up the train. I mean, not making no excuse, but then the dude came in. He was in horrible shape, man. He looked abysmal.
But even still,
that Tyson Fury.
Even still, though, shouldn't that Tyson Fury have just washed Ngannou? even if he didn't train, because this is a guy who has no pro fights, no boxing fights. And instead he was knocked down.
You know
he
what?
was beat up. I think Tyson Fury is washed.
That's not true.
I think Tyson Fury is washed, man.
Yeah, and that's definitely. But people don't understand. Actually, Francis Ngannou, there is footage of him actually boxing. He's not this boxing novice that people try to make him out to be. He has had boxing matches.
Yeah.
He was a kickboxer. You know, he can throw punches. You know what I mean?
Right, but it's not the same. It's not the same sport, and it's not on the same level as a guy like Tyson Fury.
Right.
Should have just went in there and just whitewashed him. This is what I'm expecting AJ to do, is to go in there and just completely whitewash Ngannou. But I don't know. We'll see.
I agree with that, but they say Tyson's not this power puncher that people try to make him out to be. Like I say, that Deontay Wilder win, just like he was able to ride off that Klitschko win for freaking 20 years. You know, that just made him the best heavyweight of all time. Him fighting the same guy who was a limited heavyweight, just because you beat him 3 times, does not make you the best heavyweight that ever laced up a pair of gloves. And Tyson Fury is so good with his words, and he's so good with his self-promotion that he got people to buy into this crap, that he was the greatest heavyweight ever to live. I'm like, man, you out your freaking mind. You're not the greatest heavyweight that ever lived, man. I mean, a guy like Riddick Bowe would have freaking beat the brakes off of you. Lennox Lewis would have destroyed you. Holyfield would have beat you. Tyson, one thing Tyson Fury is chinny. If you hit him, he'll fall. That's why I'm so adamant that whenever him and Anthony Joshua fight, especially now, this version of Tyson Fury that we got now, Tyson Fury's gonna get knocked out, man.
There you go.
Because as soon as you hit him, he falls. It doesn't matter who he is. Steve Cunningham. I mean, he's been down so many times by smaller guys. And Anthony Joshua is a devastating puncher. He's gonna have problems. Francis, I like Francis. I hope he doesn't get hurt. Because I like Francis as a person. Yeah. I understand him. Want to do good for himself, but he's in there with a guy that's going to break bones in your face.
Yeah,
and that's what's probably going to happen.
AJ's not going to play around with him. I don't think AJ's got way too much on the line to play around with this guy, man. So
it's not going to fuck around.
All right, Coach, we're going to get running, man. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate the call.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, so Big Texas is on the line. Before we get to the news, because I'm going to tell you why. Because last time he called and we ended the show without picking him up, so we're going to pick him up now to make sure we pick him up. Big Texas, 806, you are live.
No. Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing?
We're doing well. How are you?
Just good, man. Just want to let Beeb know I love how we talk. I just love how he describes how Francis has such a big head and thick neck. Really turned me on. Just love the way he talks. I'm here. I'm ready. I got my song for Beeb, and
yes,
I hope everybody enjoys it. You got the right stuff, baby. Love the way you turned me out. All I ever wanted in my life. You're so fine. All I ever wanted was you. It's so true. Oh, 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 oh. Right stuff. Love the way you walk. I love the way you talk. You got the right stuff. Baby.
Big Texas is out. All right, that was great. Big Texas, thank you so much. I don't know what we'd do without that. That was beautiful, Beeb. I mean, come on. He comes on. He says how nice he likes you, and he shows respect to you by singing you a song. And wow,
that's great.
It's great. Omar Rodriguez says, I'm making my wife a big Texas mixtape.
Brutal.
And, I mean, I'm just saying, any chance? What are the odds? Like if you one in what? 1,000 or 1 in 50 that you get together with Big Texas if you find yourself in Texas?
Oh, it's 1 in a billion.
So there is a chance then. So is what you're saying is there is Nah, you said it, not me. I'm trying to,
0 in a billion.
0 in a billion. All right, let's get to the news and rumors here. Okay, so Canelo and the PBC Beeb split. At least that was the rumor that was going around earlier on this week. It looks like all is, there was all nonsense. Jaime Munguia versus Canelo Alvarez will be the next fight. That's what it's looking like. And it will take place as a pay-per-view on Amazon with PBC promoting it. But I thought he got rid of PBC. Why is everybody in a rush to judgment to figure out what is going on? Why don't you just let things play out? And, this is how, again, man, they go in there and they say they're so anxious to report a story and get the scoop, whatever the scoop may be. Honestly, who cares if Canelo stays with the PBC or he doesn't stay with the PBC? If he stays with the PBC, then he's got, you got the Benavidez fight and everything like that. But here he's staying with the PBC, and Munguia is an Oscar guy, a Golden Boy guy. So they can cross promote,
Yeah. And this is what baffles me. And again, I am not running interference for Al Heyman. There's a lot you can criticize the PBC about. I'm not a huge fan of the way they do business. There's a lot of companies who I'm not a fan of on how they do business. Comcast being one. Comcast, how they price gouge me every fucking year, raise my price, and then some jamoke walks in as a new customer and pays half of what I'm paying.
Right.
So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to another provider, and I'm going to be a new customer. I'm going to get a promotion. So what are you really accomplishing, Comcast? But guess what? They must be doing something right because they're a multi-$100 billion company.
Yeah.
Right? So, again, there's much to criticize Al Heyman and PBC about. I don't like the way they do business. I do think that their product is overpriced. They do way too many pay-per-views. Most of their fighters are on the shelf way too long. They've been obstructionists for a lot of the big fights. And this whole thing, right, about building a fight, marinating a fight, milking a fight, it seems like not only PBC does this, but a lot of people do this. Like, for instance, Tyson Fury, why couldn't he just fight Usyk? Why did he have to fight Ngannou first? We almost lost that fight because I thought Ngannou won, and a lot of people thought Ngannou won.
A lot of people thought he won.
He was one round away from winning and ending the undisputed fight. So why have these interim fights? Joshua versus Wallen and Wilder versus Parker. That fight became dead because Wilder loses to Parker. So this whole model now of having these in-between fights before you do the big one, I'm not a big fan of it. But that seems to be the part and parcel today of what these promotional companies and these platforms are doing now. But again, not to belabor the point, but this whole thing about Al Heyman being broke, not having money to pay Canelo.
How do you know? How do you know? How do you know?
You just signed a deal with Amazon. Oh, it's a distribution deal. Again, it's a rights agreement. There is a budget, whatever. Now, here's the thing. Just because you have the money to spend, you still don't want to spend your budget foolishly. And it drives me crazy that we're really arguing and criticizing the PBC for not wanting to put on the Charlo fight and rather wanting to put on this Munguia fight instead. Now, you may not like this Munguia fight, Eric, but I think you like it a lot better than you like the Charlo fight, no?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so PBC is all of a sudden broke because they don't want to pay $35 million for a Charlo fight, and they'd rather pay $35 million for a Munguia fight. It's just good business. So again, we can criticize PBC all you want, but I think they're right here. Now Canelo does have a contract, and if it was put in the contract that they were supposed to pay him a certain amount to fight Charlo, okay, I understand his viewpoint too. But the fact that they would rather put out a better product, that's better for us. Why would we be complaining about that? Right?
Right.
That's number one. Number two, Al Heyman, again, you can criticize him for many things, but this guy knows how to marshal resources. He knows how to get people to invest in his company, right? He's not a dummy. He's went to Harvard. He's got an MBA. He's got an MBA in business. So he's not a dummy, right? You may not like what he does, may not be best for the fans, but he's not a dummy, and he knows how to make money, and he's made money over the years, and I'm sure he's doing fine. The notion that he doesn't have that they don't have the resources to pay Canelo, I think that's unfounded. Now, the fact that they don't want to pay for a Charlo fight, that's a good thing, isn't it? That's not a good thing.
I think it's great.
So why are people criticizing the PBC for not wanting to put Canelo versus Charlo and putting Canelo versus Munguia instead?
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
All
right, let's talk about the this week. So Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney had a press conference. The second one, it was in LA, which was kind of the notable one. Beeb, did you catch this? You caught this?
It was nuts.
So he rides up on a white horse.
Oh God.
Which I'm like, whatever. It's so cringe anyway. But he gets on I'm talking about Garcia here. And I don't know what was going on with him or what. Now, they said prior to the night before, apparently he was on Instagram. He was doing weed and, just drinking. Or whatever. Yeah, and they said, and Haney kind of called him out on it at the press conference.
Yeah.
And said, hey, people are watching you. What kind of example are you setting, Yeah. And, Ryan looked under the influence in that whole thing.
During the press conference.
I thought he looked really out of it.
He looks like he's on like antidepressants because he's all like spaced out. I've seen people on it. Like, here's a problem with antidepressants, not to go down this rabbit hole and play psychiatrist here. But I've seen people on these antidepressants, and a lot of times when these doctors prescribe them, right? Because this guy has had depression problems, and I'm sure he's got. I suspect he's on antidepressants right now.
Yeah, sure.
Because he's all spacey. Now, when a doctor prescribes you, there's a lot of playing around with the dose to get that right dose to make you feel right, and a lot of times you become lethargic, you become sleepy, you become spacey, uninspired, right? And that's because maybe the dose is too high. So he looked like he was out of it, and he reminded me of someone that was overly medicated, in my opinion.
He looked like he was on something.
He looks sedated.
He looked like he was on something.
He looks sedated.
And I'll tell you, what got me is at the end of the presser, they brought him together for the stare down, and Haney was just running him up one side and down the other, just talking to him and everything like that. And Ryan Garcia just calmly turned away and walked away.
You know what the most telling thing about that press conference was?
That to me was the most telling thing.
Okay, I'm going to throw another one at you.
Sure.
When Devin Haney said to him, "You quit last time. Are you going to quit again? Are you going to quit in this fight?" No. And then he goes, "Are you going to pull out? Are you going to pull out?"
Yes.
And he couldn't answer him. He wouldn't answer him. And then his dad says, "Ryan, you're going to answer that?" He's asking if you're going to pull out. Ryan, you're going to answer that?
Yeah.
Even his dad was uncomfortable with how Ryan reacted and responded to that question. Are you going to pull out?
Well, and it really got contentious in the sense they were talking about his dad's toupee. They brought that up. They were bringing up the fact that Bill Haney was a pimp at one point, which I didn't know. I don't really care, but whatever, I mean, all that stuff can take a back seat. Let these two guys, have their moment. It's not about you. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not about it's not about the families. It's about you guys.
Yeah, Ryan's embarrassing himself, in my opinion.
He really is. I think he really is. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this. With Jermell Charlo was stripped of the WBA title.
He doesn't have any of the titles left.
He doesn't have anything left. So whatever.
Good.
Yeah, I think so.
Now they gotta strip his brother. Then they'll be all set.
Yeah, I don't know why his brother still has a title.
It's beyond logic.
Yeah. Let me tell you what else, Beeb, is beyond logic. This case, as they say, versus my guy, Jared Big Baby Anderson from Toledo, Ohio, Titletown, Ohio, right? Anderson, 24, was arraigned in Wayne County. This is in Michigan where he got caught for fleeing a police officer in the third degree. Anderson was given a $10,000 personal bond with the conditions that he can no longer drive, regardless of license status, with the exception of traveling to and from court dates. Anderson faces felony charges with the potential of 5 years in prison and suspended license for a year. He was tried, on Thursday, the 29th, February 29th, around 1:30 p.m. Officers with the Huron Township Police attempted to stop Anderson in his vehicle on 3 separate occasions, Beeb. So he was on a chase, and they tried to stop him on 3 different occasions. One of the guys had let him go because of congestion in the traffic, and he's endangering other people with the chase. So Raphael says it's right across the border in Monroe. Yeah, I know exactly where that's at. I guess the last time they ended up catching him because he crashed his car in the center lane or whatever. Crashed his car during the police chase. This is the second time Anderson's been in trouble with the law since November. He had that gun incident, the misdemeanor gun charge in December as part of a plea deal. Took following an arrest for drunk driving. What's going on here, man? I mean, all craziness aside, I mean, number one, what makes you think you're going to outrun why would you try to outrun the cops?
What was he doing for them to want to stop him anyways? Was he speeding or something or driving recklessly?
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Let me see if it says here.
It doesn't really say, right?
No, but I mean, why would you run from the police?
Yeah, he's going to get his license suspended too.
Yeah. And I don't think he's going to see any jail time out of this.
No, probably not.
I think because he's an upper echelon fighter, and then he won't see any jail time, which I think is kind of nonsense. But whatever. I mean, I don't understand that though. Like, why are you running from the cops?
Yeah, it's nuts.
They didn't find anything on him because they searched.
Yeah.
So you just said, "Screw it, I'm going to outrun these guys."
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't
understand it. Like, what is wrong with you, man?
It's not a good look.
These guys got all this on the line. This is the thing. When you get too much too early and you're not ready to handle it, that's what happens.
That's right.
You give the stuff to people and they're still immature and they don't know how to deal with it. And they don't got people around them that are going to help them deal with it. They don't put those guys around them. Mm-hmm. It's all the guys they came up with, and we're all, where it's just like, man, these guys got to get handlers around them. They got to do better. They got to do better. Yeah, they got to get handlers around them and everything like that. I mean, it's just keep these guys in the ring, keep them busy, keep them in training. That's what they did to Tyson. They knew he was going to get in trouble.
That's right.
They were like, all right, let's keep him in the ring constantly.
That's right.
Keep him training. There you go. So as far as what will happen to him, probably get a license suspension, probably get a fine, but he won't see any real jail time out of this, which
won't get jail time,
which I think sucks. Because if it's you or I running from the cops, we're in jail right now.
And here's the bad thing about it. I hate to say this, but what are the chances of him getting stopped for driving without a license now, too?
Oh, for sure.
See a lot of that going on, too. A lot of times people get their license pulled and then they go driving without a license.
Now, I don't know what a $10,000 personal bond is. Now, I don't know if that's a regular bond or what, where he only has to pay 10% of that, because that's $1,000.
Yeah.
Because you know how like when you get a bond, you only pay 10% of if it's $5 million, you only pay 10% of that, but whatever. But I wonder if you only had to pay 10% or that was the bond was 10,000. I don't know. So,
yeah.
All right, guys, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on X at jhabib1. Find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. And you can find me on X at ringside73. And guys, we will see you next week.